Our political spectrum is often described as having two poles, a far right and a far left. But when the boots hit the ground and the bodies start stacking, you quickly realize that they operate almost exactly identical. Why is this? You've probably heard of horseshoe theory, and if not, it's an idea that the far left and the far right of the political spectrum bend towards each other, behaving more like each other than the so called center. It's not a bad metaphor, but it doesn't go far enough, because the truth is, they don't just resemble each other. Fascism and communism are two sides of a coin called socialism, and that coin was minted at the Bank of European Collectivism. This isn't just an analogy, it's a pattern. The major totalitarian regimes of the 20th century, Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, the Soviet Union, Maoist China, they all differed in rhetoric, but not in structure. All centralized power suppressed the individual and elevated the state to godhood. Fascism, communism, strip the flag away and the slogans and the leaders' names, and all you're left with are two ideologies obsessed with control, conformity, and crushing individual liberty. Let's dispel a persistent myth of the far right. Fascism does not include any amount of capitalism. Fascist regimes nationalize industries, directed production, fixed prices, and use state power to control the market. That's not free enterprise, it's central planning in a different uniform. Mussolini didn't shy away from this. The father of fascism himself described it as true socialism, not opposed to socialism, not in conflict with it and evolution of it. And of course, communist regimes make the same claim about their own systems. The difference lies in the symbols and slogans, not the mechanisms of control. Whether it's under red banners or black ones, the reality is the same. The state controls production, the state controls thought, and the individual is disposable. Hitler's Germany was filled with nationalized industries, state propaganda, social engineering, and total obedience to the state. That's not capitalism. That's not individualism. That's not freedom. That's the same central planning we saw in the Soviet Union, just with a different uniform and a different mustache. Another revealing sign is how violently socialist regimes turn on each other. The Nazis persecuted communists, and the communists purged Nazis from their regimes. The Soviets turned on Trotsky. Mao and Khrushchev denounced each other. This isn't a battle between extremes of a political spectrum. It's infighting between factions that all agree on centralized control but differ on who should hold the reins. Socialist factions always seem to save their fiercest hatred for one another. Why, you may ask? Because the core principles are nearly identical. They're competing for the same ground. Every totalitarian regime in history, whether red, brown, or black, had one thing in common: the belief that the state owns you, that your life belongs to the cause, that dissent is treason, and that's the lie that they are still selling today. And the whole left versus right thing? A joke from the French Assembly. It was about seating arrangements, not ideology. But modern academics who mostly lean left need a way to distance their precious communism from the atrocities of fascism. So they shoved fascism over to the far right, even though everything about it screams leftist control freak. The left right spectrum we use today is a product of political necessity and historical revisionism, not ideological clarity. The original left and right distinction came from the French Revolution, literally who sat where in the National Assembly. That crude map of politics has been distorted and used ever since. When fascism failed to defeat its socialist twin, leftist academics worked overtime to pin it on the right, creating a false dichotomy that has stuck around for decades. But when you strip away the narratives and look at what these regimes actually did, the pattern becomes clear. They crushed dissent, nationalized economies, weaponized education and media, and turned the state into a tool for social engineering. You're not supposed to notice this overlap. You're supposed to pick a team, wave a flag, and ignore the boot on your neck. If you want a spectrum that actually matters and makes some sense, then it's not left versus right. It's liberty versus control. On one side, you have systems that protect the rights of the individual: freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, rights to property, association, and belief. On the other side, you have systems that demand obedience, control thought and dictate economy, and see individuals as instruments of the state. Communism and fascism are both firmly in the control camp, different banners, same playbook. And this isn't just an academic argument or a historical curiosity. The playbook of centralized control is alive and well. It's just been repackaged. Today's collectivists talk about equity, climate action, national unity, or social justice. But behind those words is the same desire, one to consolidate power, suppress dissent, and reshape the society by force.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Not from a
Socialist. The mechanics haven't changed, just the slogans. Whether it's in the name of equity, safety, the common good, or national pride, collectivists always demand the same thing: your obedience. Fascism and communism aren't opposites, they're rival models of collectivism. One invokes the nation, the other invokes class, but in practice, both erode liberty, dehumanize the citizen, and glorify the state. The real political battle isn't between left and right, it's between freedom and coercion. So educate yourself, speak up, resist collectivism in all its costumes, because liberty doesn't defend itself, and the only safeguard is an informed citizen who refuses to surrender his rights to anyone, no matter how noble their cause may sound. If you enjoy my content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you'd like to support future content, please visit my Patreon, link in the description below. I've been Drex Hawkins. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one, my friends.